Hello and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Gita Mukherjee. Pranab Mukherjee, former president, has been awarded the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honour, along with music maestro Bhupen Hazarika and Sangh member and social activist Nanaji Deshmukh. Now, many believe the choice of Pranab Mukherjee, a lifelong congressman, for the top award delivers a less than subtle political message in election season. After that announcement, some have even criticised the Congress for failing to give one of its senior-most and respected members the recognition he deserved. Interestingly, writer Geeta Mehta, who is also Orissa Chief Minister and Biju Janata Dal Chief Naveen Patnaik's sister, declined a Padma Award, saying in election year the timing could be misconstrued. So, are this year's awards as much, if not more, about political messaging than they are about recognising service to the nation? Well, interestingly, in his thank you message, Pranab Mukherjee chose to remind us of the importance of the Constitution, especially given India's ethnic and religious diversity.
A huge multitude of people, more than 1.3 billion, occupying a landmass of 3.3 million square kilometers, using in their daily life 122 languages and 1600 dialects, practicing 7 major religions in their daily life from 26th January 1950. That provides the glue which keeps all these different groups of people together, and today we can take the rededication to pursue our path of constitutionalism, which is a sacred text for all of us. In this connection, I would also like to take the opportunity to express my deep gratitude to the people of this country. When I was informed in the evening through a Rashtrapati House communication that I have been conferred highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna.
Well, joining us tonight, Pawan Varma, National General Secretary and National Spokesperson of the JDU, also former Rajya Sabha MP, Aarti Jairath, Senior Journalist, Sandeep Mahapatra of the RSS, and Javed Ansari, also a Senior Journalist, with us tonight. Pawan Varma, how would you say the Bharat Ratna decisions are being viewed given their timing and the fact that we are now well and truly in election season?
You know, Ankita, I'll say one thing to begin with as a premise. Whenever an award is conferred, and it is a selective process, there will be some quarters who may allege that there is lack of impartiality or an arbitrariness in the choice. But in my view, conferring the Bharat Ratna on Pranab Mukherjee is something very well deserved. He has spent a lifetime in public life, has been a very competent minister. He has been my own minister in the Ministry of External Affairs when I was a diplomat, and has been the first citizen of the country as the Rashtrapati Ji, a man who has a vast knowledge and exceptionally hardworking, who's dedicated his life to the service of the nation. I think it's a befitting award. Now, why did the BJP give it and why the Congress didn't give it? Because I think primarily Pranab Babu was the president during most of his term during the BJP government, and he demitted office when the BJP government has been in power. So after he has demitted office, I think it's for the ruling party now, which happens to be an NDA government, which has conferred the award on him, and it should be seen in that light.
Aarti Jairath, is that something you would agree with, that this is in a way a testament to Pranab Mukherjee's ability to be a consensus builder, someone who sort of, cut across the political spectrum when it came to having friends, also a lifelong, lifelong service to the nation, as Pawan Varma points out, or, are we to read something more in this?
And also, Ankita, if I may add, somebody who believed very strongly in the Constitution and he mentioned it again in his thank you message. So, you know, on Republic Day, I think it's really, you know, befitting that a man like him, who was so dedicated to the Constitution, and, you know, and in many ways during his years as president, he was what they called a constitutional president, you know. So I think it's just befitting. You know, yes, there has been a lot of criticism. I've been reading articles, I've been reading tweets. You know, people have tried to play politics with these awards. We've heard, you know, criticism coming saying that, you know, why did, you know, it was left to the BJP to honor Pranab Mukherjee, the Congress never did, the Congress never honored Vajpayee. You know, it's really sad when, you know, the country's highest award, civilian award, becomes a political football to be played between supporters of the BJP and supporters of the Congress. And I think it's not right. It also belittles the man who receives the award, because and it belittles the award itself. So, you know, it's very sad to see all this happening. You know, they have said that, you know, the award to Pranab Mukherjee is, you know, the sort of BJP's way of trying to reach out to Bengal, where they're hoping to make a big entry in the Lok Sabha elections this time. They say the award to Bhupen Hazarika was an attempt to placate Assam, which is up in flames because of the citizenship bill. And they say that the award to Nanaji Deshmukh is an attempt to placate the RSS, because he was a lifelong sort of Jansangh man, an RSS man, and so on and so forth. You know, as I said, I think you're really belittling the achievements of these people. You're belittling the award by raising all these things. And I really feel that we shouldn't get into the, you know, get into a political kind of slanging match on national awards.
Okay, fair enough. And Sandeep Mahapatra, though, you know, since Aarti Jairath raises those points that have actually sort of now been flagged by many people, you know, do respond to that. The fact that, you know, that it took a BJP government at the end of the day to award someone who was a lifelong congressman. There are those who are saying, did the BJP then not have enough sort of political icons of its own? How do you respond to them?
Look, this kind of arguments are being given by those who are narrow-minded and they can't think beyond a certain paradigm. But at the end of the day, please remember that this government, or for that matter, this dispensation, has been accused of being intolerant. But this is an example. Even if Pranab Mukherjee in his heydays had taken positions which are diametrically opposite to the present dispensation, still, because of his service to the nation, he has been recognized, and rightly so. And this is one factor which carries home, and this is one factor which needs to be remembered. And Ankita, I would also emphasize that not only the Bharat Ratna, if you see the Padma awards also, if you see the last 5 years, the awardees, they are common people. Just to give an example, this year 3 people or 4 people have been awarded. A person from Cuttack who sells tea and teaches children out of his meager earning, he has been awarded Padma Shri. One woman of around 70-75 years of age who believes in organic farming and preserving the seeds in an organic manner in a hinterland in Odisha, she has been recognized. So the awards that have been given in the last 4-5 years have gone a sea change, rather than, you know, just limited to the Lyttian stone kind of a thing. Because I remember the award list which was there 3-4 years, 5-6 years back. Out of 100, you would have at least 30 or 40 who are from Delhi. I'm not sure whether they deserve or not deserve. But the point is, now the real people are being recognized.
Okay.
And that is
so a lot of
celebrated.
Unsung heroes this time also, and we take your point absolutely about that. But Javed Ansari, you know, would you agree at all with those who say that, you know, there is some political signaling here? We've had, you know, the Congress's Karnataka ally, the JDS, we've had the JDS spokesperson come out and say, we know why this award was given. So, you know, I'll give you the exact quote. Those who laid the foundation of partition were called great sons of India. So maybe that's the reason for the award. Now, that obviously is a reference to the fact that Pranab Mukherjee went to that RSS event where he praised the RSS founder, Mr. Hegdewar. So, you know, there are people who are making this political and who are saying that there is a fair amount of political signaling here.
Look, as far as this comment, Mr. Danish Ali's comment with regards to the former president is concerned, that's his comment. He's entitled to a view. I believe this is richly deserved. If there is one person who deserved it, it's Pranab Da. But having said that, I would also like to say that, you know, this is not the first time that the politicization of these awards has happened. Let's go back to the time when Kamraj And when MGR was just before the state assembly elections, the then government chose to confer this award on Mr. MGR. The same questions were raised, that this is being done with an eye on the polls. They hope to try and win over the hearts and minds of the Tamil electorate, and then it's being done. The same arguments were raised with regards to Mr. Kamraj. So whenever a politician is rewarded, in a perfect world, it shouldn't happen. But whenever a politician is rewarded, it's only natural that these kind of comments, questions will be raised. Having said that, I'd also like to make the point that Bharat Ratna should be awarded only in the rarest of rare cases. We already have 45 Bharat Ratnas. And I don't understand this business of awarding somebody posthumously. No disrespect meant, maybe they were all worthy, but then why don't we reward people when they're alive? What's the point in awarding and rewarding somebody or conferring this great honor on somebody who's not alive, who's not around to see it? So therefore, you can't take the politics away, and especially coming as it does just a couple of months ahead of the Lok Sabha general elections. Everything is par for the course now. Unfortunately, Bharat Ratna awards as well.
Sandeep Mahapatra, I can see you disagreeing with some of those points being made. If you want to sort of bear in on that, and we're hearing this time and time again that there seems to be a nod to certain states, whether it's Bengal, whether it's the Northeast with the selection of Bhupen Hazarika for that honor. Is that something that you'd like to bear upon?
No, Bhupen Hazarika ji had been awarded Padma Bhushan Vibhushan also earlier on. So, and the fact that somebody tells that Mr. Mukherjee went to the RSS headquarters and therefore, but I want to ask that person, did Bhupen Hazarika in his lifetime ever spoke about RSS or visited RSS, any Sakha of RSS? Number one is that. Number two is Mr. Javed has raised a valid point as to why all those heroes of our nation have not been awarded during their lifetime. And the prime examples one could give is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He was awarded in 1991. Sardar Patel was awarded in 1991. So the kind of politics that went into this. But whereas we have one family who has three Bharat Ratna, and two of them had awarded themselves. As in Mr. Nehru awarded in 1958 the Bharat Ratna to himself. Indira Gandhi in 1971, and if I remember, Rajiv Gandhi in 1989. So,
Rajiv was awarded posthumously after his death.
I stand corrected. So we have a case like that also. But at the same time, Ankita, we need to bear in mind that all those heroes who have contributed to the cause of this country, who have contributed to the public life of this country, who have contributed to the science, literature, art,
how is that then not a political message? Sandeep Mahapatra, let me, Aarti, if you would like to come in on this. We've just heard this kind of underscoring of the political significance that successive Congress governments gave the Bharat Ratnas to members of the Gandhi family. And, here is a government that is doing something very different. Is that then not a political message?
Of course, and that's what I'm saying. This is what has happened, that all these, the Bharat Ratna has become a political football, which it should not have been. And, I do also find it a little unusual that three people should be given the highest award at one time. It is the highest award, and normally it should be given to just one person. So why three people in one stroke? It just makes no sense at all. So I'm not surprised that people are reading politics into it.
Okay, Pawan Varma,
and given that these are key states and key areas for the present government, it's not surprising that people are reading politics and seeing political messages in this.
Pawan Varma, is that something that you would sort of go along with? That the fact that this is a nod to sort of separate Bharats, a nod to Bengal, perhaps a nod to the Northeast at a time when particularly there seems to be let's call it some political losses, as it were, for the present government. What would you say to the fact that there seems to be, at least on the face of it, something to these choices?
Now, I think that, Ankita, you name me an award even from this list, and if I have enough political ingenuity, I can link it to some political motivation, because they all represent some state or the other where they may live or they may be working in, and there's always a political angle to it. But if you think that the Andolan, the unrest that has engulfed Assam and the northeast states on the question of the Citizenship Amendment Bill will be assuaged by giving Bhupen Hazarika posthumously the Bharat Ratna, I think it's pretty far-fetched thinking in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. But how do
as
you?
Far as
Okay, but how do you then? Let me bring the other aspect of this into the conversation. Then we've heard Geeta Mehta, the writer, issue a statement today saying that she was, the Padma Shri was going to be conferred on her, but she has politely declined because she thinks in this season, in this election season, the timing of it would have been misconstrued and it would have been an embarrassment both for her and the government. The fact of the matter is that awards are seen as in some ways being political, or perhaps being politically motivated, if that's not too strong a term to use.
you see, the basic question is that a person who's being awarded has always the right to refuse an award. And there could be many reasons for that. They may think it's too little, too late. They may believe that the category in which they've been awarded is not appropriate for their own achievements. They may feel they have transcended an award. Or in this case, as in the case of Geeta Mehta, I think that she is the sister of the Chief Minister of Orissa and the leader of the Biju Janata Dal. Now, the BJD has always maintained or publicly stated that it is equidistant from both the two major parties, the BJP and the Congress. And Geeta Mehta has been a writer for decades now.
Okay.
Now, certainly she could interpret an award being given at this juncture so close to the election from her point of view to be politically uncomfortable, not only for her but certainly for her brother.
Right.
So she has taken a choice and we must respect that.
Okay, fair enough. Javed Ansari, what could it have been misconstrued as, since she uses the word misconstrued?
Well, that's not very difficult. It could have been misconstrued as trying to buy an insurance policy vis-a-vis the BJD in a post-poll scenario. So you try and, they perhaps thought that the best way to Naveen's heart is through awarding Geeta Mehta, taking nothing away from Geeta Mehta. She is, she deserves this award and deserved it much earlier. She is what she is in her own right. No thanks to the fact that she is either Biju Patnaik's daughter or Mr. Naveen Patnaik's sister. But I'm a bit intrigued by this. And I'd like Pawan Varma ji to clarify this, because he's been a bureaucrat and he knows the process better than all of us here. That when somebody is being conferred an award like this, aren't you sounded out earlier? Isn't the person taken into confidence? Yes. His or her opinion sought. Was her opinion sought, or was this award announced unilaterally, and therefore Geeta Mehta ji forcing her to do what she did even?
I can answer that. I believe that not only is the person informed and the consent obtained, but that discreet inquiries on all aspects of the background of the person is also done by the concerned agencies in the Government of India. So this kind of due diligence or check is done, and certainly the consent is obtained. So I am not sure myself whether in this case it was obtained, or if it was obtained and initially it was a yes and later became a no. I really am not clear of the facts because they are not in the public domain.
But Ankita, I'd just like to say something that, I think Geeta Mehta has, done the right thing.
Absolutely
really,
the right thing.
The right thing, because if I'm not mistaken, it's your website that has carried a story today on this 90-minute meeting, this outreach by the Prime Minister to Geeta Mehta and her husband, who is
Absolutely.
a well-known publisher in the US.
Yes, my colleague Savita Chaudhary has been reporting on that story, and for our viewers who have not read that article, it talks about how Prime Minister Modi reached out to Geeta Mehta and had a 90-minute meeting with her and her famous publisher husband, Sonny Mehta, and they initially thought that it might be in connection with a biography to be written on the Prime Minister, but that wasn't the case, and it was only after that this award came up. Sandeep Mahapatra, one quick comment before I have to wrap this up.
And so that's why I just wanted to say, so it indicates a certain amount of political thinking,
right,
that went into it. And I think that is why she has refused the award.
Okay. Would you say this is an embarrassment, Sandeep Mahapatra?
No, look, as Mr. Varma has rightly pointed out, if somebody says that I do not consent, see, there have been many instances in this country where somebody has been offered a job, judge's post, as in somebody's name has been selected, but that person politely declined and say that no, I'm not willing to take that post.
But surely in the case of an award, as has been pointed out, this is something that, the award
there
is
have been
sounded out
instances in
about
the past
first.
also. Ankita, there have been instances in the past.
Yeah,
also.
last year Salim Khan.
Vilayat Khan Sahab, he said that it is below me to accept any award.
Right.
Then there are many others who have declined, and this has not happened in this regime, it has happened in the previous regimes also. So it is a personal choice that Ms. Geeta Mehta has made for herself. And she says that with regret I am not able to accept, I am not giving my consent.
Okay.
So she also knows for a fact that the highest honor that has conferred on her,
Right.
it was an honor for her also, but she regrets that because of whatever circumstances she thinks she is
All
bound
right.
by.
And
she declines it.
misconstrue is, of course, an interesting choice of words in the circumstances. We'll leave it at that. Perhaps no award or honor is without its share of naysayers and fault finders, and the country's highest honors perhaps this time raising more than their normal share of eyebrows. That's it on this edition of Left, Right and Centre. Thanks for watching.